Ladies and gentlemen, this conference is almost finished, and I thank the previous panel for showing that we remain vital till the end, and that the societal debates are not technical only, but have a strong societal dimension, and that is a long tradition at CPDP. We end with, we take a risk. We assume that there is still some critical mass and energy left in the body and the minds of our participants, and that's why these important panels are organized at the end. I think this is a concern that we all share. It's a concern about the way our institutions are governed and about democracy, how it is renewed. There is an important tradition at CPDP of handing over the floor to the European Data Protection Supervisor. It remains a beautiful name. It is an institute, but it is a person too. And that only shows how in this world individuals can make the difference. So one thing I would never like to see changed is the name of the EU agency of the European Data Protection Supervisor. What I also never want to see changed is the presence of Wojciech Wiewiórowski, who is the current European Data Protection Supervisor, and I would say an indispensable partner and good friend of CPDP. Wojciech, please.
Thank you, Paul. It's first of all the honor for me to be here, honor for me to conclude somehow our discussions during the CPDP 2024. Good afternoon to everybody who survived. Good afternoon to everybody who still have the time to summarize this event. It's a tradition to conclude this event, and undeniable emotion for me to be on this stage for the 5th year in a row as the European Data Protection Supervisor. I want to start by congratulating Paul, congratulating Thierry and the whole team of the organizers for the wonderful work they did for this year's insightful discussions. CPDP is the conference in Brussels. When we say that we want Brussels to be the agora for the discussion about privacy and data protection, that means that we want more events like that, but we still recognize that CPDP is quite unique. CPDP is the point of reference to new generation of expert practitioners and scholars with their vibrant and fresh ideas, as well as for not so young with their crucial experience. CPDP is bridging the generations, bridges ideas, cultures, and regions of the world like very few conferences in the world. CPDP has turned CPDP.ai. I have to say I had a kind of nervous breakdown when I got to know that there is a change of the name of the conference. And I realized that there are 3 questions that I would like to ask to the organizers and to the old participants on what does this change mean. First, has the personal data protection become the subset of the artificial intelligence? Secondly, have the ethics discussion be revamped? And thirdly, what will be the future of the privacy and data protection? Thanks a lot to Paul and the others that only by changing the name of the conference, all these things came to our mind, and probably that's a preview of what is there to happen anyway in a few years, or maybe something which is happening now. Data protection and AI are interlinked. That's obvious for us. However, I'm here to send a clear message. Data protection and privacy will not merge nor will disperse into artificial intelligence. I'm here to defend the data protection and privacy against the risk to confuse them into the AI hype, as this could mean the end of this fundamental right. I'm not naive, and we are not naive as the society of the people dealing with the personal data protection. And of course, artificial intelligence is fueled by data. Much data that some operators refuse to recognize as personal because they claim that these data have been aggregated or anonymized. But artificial intelligence and data protection are different animals. The AI Act is conceived to and framed as an internal market legislation for commercializing AI systems, something qualitatively and completely different from the tool of protecting the fundamental rights. I'm not saying that as the minus, but as the thing that we have to realize. And in this act, we will not find the serious answers to the questions about the fundamental rights. In addition, the enforcement of AI rules will not be accompanied by all the safeguards that come with the enforcement of the data protection. For example, the independence of the supervisory authority, which is paramount to protect citizens' rights. Data protection has not turned into everything in AI. Respect of data protection and privacy is essential prerequisite, let me stress this word, prerequisite to put the people at the center and the head of technology. We must defend the identity of data protection and protecting the humanity. There is a renewed importance of ethics in AI context. For as much as a law can provide for permitted or versus banned use of certain technologies, the law will not always draw the specific line what is right and what is wrong. We need more of this, our broken digital ecosystems. Maria Farrell and Robbie Bergeon recently wrote that our online spaces are not ecosystems. They are rather like plantations, highly concentrated and controlled environments, closer akin to industrial farming or the battery chicken farms. The world of artificial intelligence is controlled, as many others in the digital realm, by a very limited number of large firms, the only ones having the ability to develop and deploy AI at the scale. These companies make decisions with a crucial societal impact on humanity. However, humanity is not the part of relevant decision-making. We must embark on profound rethinking of technology's market structure and accumulation of power that comes from this and have direct impact on the people's fundamental rights, including the right to privacy and the right to data protection. EU Act and the EU Acts, the whole digital rule book, DMA, DSA, and the likes, but also the open data registration in the EU, they sometimes help, they certainly help. They are already advancing the cause of protecting rights of the people. But there is no fundamental rethinking of the digital world that they can achieve. We must devise the trajectory for the future which can be just and fair to everyone. This trajectory shall pass through the privacy and data protection. So, what is the future? But also, what was the past of the privacy and data protection? To imagine the future, we shall reflect on the past and have the kind of helicopter view on what happened last years. Well, we have 20th anniversary of EDPS this year. So let's look from the EDPS perspective. First few years of our existence, that was the time when we had the Charter of Fundamental Rights, but fundamental rights were somehow aside from the main theme of the activity of the communities and the Union. The Treaty of Lisbon has changed it. Article 16 enshrined the protection of the personal data in the EU primary law. Then, next 8 years, that was the time when the GDPR has defined the scope of application of data protection in the secondary law, and the third part, the third chapter, was the time when the digital rule book and the other of this general and basic regulations started to appear, through which the EU aimed to tame specific harmful effects of business models and unfair behavior of digital players, and in which data protection rules are coupled with the provisions of interest for competition, market regulation, consumer protection, platform responsibility. This is the reality that we have at the moment. So what's going on now? There's another, the fourth chapter, which we have to be aware of and which already started. There will be the realization of so-called common European data spaces, rolled out across 14 different domains, from agriculture to science, from culture to mobility. They contain multiple dangers of exceptions from the general rules for data protection. Of course, they are all theoretically without the prejudice to GDPR. But in fact, if we create 14 different set of rules for 14 different sectors, we may have the problem of coexistence of that. The member states may provide for exceptions to such rights and eliminate by national law opt-out rights, meaning that individuals could end up losing control on what happens to their data. It started with the health data, which theoretically we somehow control. We control the legal act, but I'm not sure if it will be true in the financial sector, mobilities, and the other 12 to be organized. One of the biggest challenges for the future will certainly be to keep all these efforts concise and harmonized, and align them with the words and spirit of GDPR, because GDPR must remain, especially in the terms of principles, our benchmark for the protection of rights. The GDPR is not a perfect instrument, and it is not designed to remain forever. But if ever it will be decided that we can make better GDPR, or we can make something better than GDPR itself, the legislation will have to explicitly name it. Not the million of exceptions, but the decision that we want to revise something. So what's the future of the data protection then? I can see three possible scenarios, and each of them may happen and will create the special challenges for us. The first scenario, nothing will change. GDPR remains untouched, including its enforcement. In this scenario, data protection authorities do not evolve. They defend their territory, they step up enforcement to avoid data protection is outsourced to other authorities in the EU. Second scenario is that the GDPR remains untouched on substance, but the data protection change and evolve in enforcement. If we engage into an open and equal discussion among the regulators to ensure the data protection, AI and competition rules are for the many and not for the few, including vulnerable ones. The third scenario, finally, is data protection rules are revised on enforcement and on substance through the transparent, consistent revision process. The constellation of EU data acts is systemized and put into coherent set of rules with GDPR. While there could be opportunity to update rules and challenges of digital plantations, there could be also the risk of further diluting of essential protection of our people. Whatever the future holds for us, evolution and change will eventually come. To say it with the words of the greatest Polish poets of last years, Wisława Szymborska, even if we were dullest pupils in the school of the world, we would not repeat any winter or summer. Nothing happens twice. We cannot repeat the semester. I want to conclude with what is the 2024 for EDPS. As I said, that's the year of 20th anniversary. 20 years ago, we had EDPS created, but we had also my country joining European Union. That's the time when Poland and the Eastern European countries decided to join the history of the Western world. We are celebrating our anniversary of EDPS through a series of key initiative projects and our summit, Rethinking the Data in the Democratic Society, which will be organized on 20th of June this year. You are all warmly welcome and invited to join us and to think about the future of privacy with EDPS. And the final word is on us all. Dear privacy community of CPDP, I have always been amazed by the passion which I see here in this room and in this conference. And once again, I allow myself to cite one of the Polish poets, Czesław Miłosz. The voice of passion is better than the voice of reason. The passionless cannot change the history. This was in his poem, Child of Europe, the masterpiece which I especially recommend in this challenging time for our democracy. Of course, we need to be reasonable, but we need to have passion. Without this passion, we cannot get through, we cannot create the better world for us. I believe that with your passion, you will contribute to the change of this world for better. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening, and have a nice next year until CPDP comes back.
All right, Wojciech, the thoughtfulness of your speech, I remember them all, but thank you. This is a different EDPS than last year. This is a different concluding speech. It's, and I think it shows well what is happening. Huh? The data protection community is, has this. We're overwhelmed by a battery of laws, maybe a battery of new enforcers in areas that are very linked to the digital and also to personal data protection. And what the future is going to bring, you developed 3 scenarios. CPDP believes that the GDPR would figure in the scenario that's going to make it. Huh? We started with a panel of DPOs in this room 2 days ago, and it was clear the data protection officers were those that are going to play a role in many institutions in AI governance. So that was and so how does this all translate, these 14 laws and so on the field? Well, it's going to come together there where the expertise is there. And then we ended with a panel where the CNIL was arguing that if you want AI impact assessment, who has the skills? The DPAs have developed a lot of knowledge on impact assessments, and that's going to be the basis for further developing the necessary impact assessment skills with regard to AI. So yes, we added a small AI to the acronym, but in a couple of years, that small addition will disappear and nobody will notice. So I just want to reassure you that this conference stands strong on the importance of privacy and data protection. Some technology can overwhelm us in the beginning. We're going to play with it. We're going to explore it. But we believe that the answers are not going to have to be reinvented. They're there. Control, it's one of the things you said, to be governed or be governed. It was the theme of today. So it's going to come back more, the AI thing, but there's going to be a new commission. There should be a review and an assessment of the GDPR, and that's going to be of a big importance, and it will get a central place in the upcoming program of the CPDPs that will come. So the next 2 years, we will talk about the GDPR, we will assess its strength, and we will continue to look at this landscape of enforcement, and as it will be very granular, and as it will end up on the field, being concentrated mostly in hands of DPOs and so on, it will be discussed here. So about humans in the loop, I thank you for remaining here. This has been a challenge, a new venue. We were a little bit stressed, but you found your way, and it all went well, in my opinion. But we are looking forward to the feedback. I see more light. I see more trees outside. I also saw more co-working spaces, and many of you have found a way, and the atmosphere was good. I saw more workshops, true workshops, not many panels, but workshops with an interesting interactivity that CPDP was not able to offer you. And since you're all such an expert audience, that was very much needed throughout the years. So I saw, of course, I only see the good. Allow me for once to be very objective. But who did the good? And that is, the academics are safeguarding this conference and try to to guarantee the diversity that we think is needed for the dialogue that we want. These are the responsible people taking the important decisions. But I want to, I thought the programming committee, not that person there, but all the three other figures should be applauded for, because I myself like the program a lot. So let me hear a round of applause for these three people. Yeah. I think it's amazing for those that remember Les Halles. We just asked, how can we recreate La Cave? And it became the Orangerie. How can we recreate La Petite Halle and the other venues? And we have taken a risky shot with the two venues over there. Most of them, from 8:45 till the end, were full to fairly half full. No, full to half full, but no less. So I counted the empty venues, there were none. And that shows the quality of the audience we were able to attract. But so there's an extended program committee. I'm going to go about, I'm going to show up some slides. They're panel coordinators. They receive 3 million mails a week. And then all these people of all ages and all genders and all preferences coordinated. And for many people, they only knew the panel coordinator. They didn't know the others. But look how many people were coordinating panels. This is the organization that made it possible that the bills and the transportation and the tickets will be paid back if promised. The communication happened. And I would show one more slide, but then hope that you don't forget to applaud for them, because now the more charm. So these are the people that are behind CPDP. It's a small organization. It's a year's work, and we have 2 CPDPs now. This festival, which is the CPDP, but we, together with the EDPS, and we celebrate Privacy Day in January too. And I wanted to show this one because this is all my affection goes to those people. These are our students wearing the T-shirts, having helped you and me to find our way in the building. These are their names, and I would suggest that we concentrate the applause with the young people in mind, but also the programming top heads that I showed you before. So I would like to have an applause for all these people. Yeah. Yeah. I love them. Toulouse, Tilburg, Leiden, all universities have given us some students, and we're going to do way more with those students because we love them. Now, then the conference was made possible by partners. This is MediCongress. You all know these very strong ladies that never sleep and still look bright and shining every morning and remain helpful. I don't know how they do it, but for Else and her team, nothing but respect. There's a web team. We all take the internet for granted, but there are humans in the loop, and those are the humans. There's a scientific committee. These are the academics. We give them a lot of wine. They like us, but they also defend us because there are a lot of important issues out there. Right? Is there diversity, the wars going on outside, and so on. And the scientific committee brings reason in anxieties, concerns that we all share, and makes sure that CPDP remains a prudent player in a difficult landscape. I thank all the sponsors. I truly thank them, big, small. We have more than 500 speakers. I'm not going to pay for that. So we need all the contributions we have, and every one of the people and the logos presented there have helped us doing it. These are our partners. Other partners, their presence is as important. They have organized panels. They have appeared in panels. In one way or another, they have made sure that we remain a representative conference, and that is like diversity, a prerequisite for moving on. So I would say thank you to everybody we showed, but also thank you to you. One more applause, just especially for the people I showed, and then don't go away, because the last slide is the most important one. So please let us thank all the people that we, It is amazing. But now, this is the last one. Most of us said we liked the venue, but we will see how the feedback turns out, the written feedback. It's like voting. We all tell lies about our political preferences, but in anonymity we express ourselves. But it's safe to say that this new venue convenes the community, the participants, the speakers, the people that need to work in between panels. And so we have signed up for 3 more years at least in this building. I hope that wasn't a premature decision. We already have the dates for next year, so please write them down. Please come back and please drink a beer or a glass of champagne with me. Thank you.